So my writing has started off in creative writing actually, and has now spanned into journalism and filmmaking, and even when I was editing plays and theatre work. But when I started off with my creative writing, what I was doing was creating stories, characters and narratives around the natural spaces that I existed in. Now, I grew up in an urban area in central London. I grew up in Southall, and where I grew up, there weren't many natural spaces. There weren't many gardens or reserves nearby where I could gain first-hand experience of the natural world. And so all of my natural world experience was gained mainly through documentaries, and I watched a lot of David Attenborough documentaries. And through my understanding of the greater natural world and the rainforests and the oceans and the wildlife that existed overseas, I then used that to create stories about the wildlife that I would love to see and the monsters that I would wish to see if I went to the ends of the earth. And to me, that was the most exciting and most phenomenal ideas that I could ever put together. And those were the things that I hoped I would see when I was older. And I used that to then create stories around the wildlife, the much smaller wildlife that I saw around me, like the bees that I saw coming in through the windows, like the small windowsill flower pots that I would see in London or around on the buildings, like the ants that I would see coming out the cracks and the woodlice that I'd see coming out the woodwork. These are all examples of wildlife that I use to then create stories, and even to create fictional stories around monsters and creatures that all had a basis in the wildlife that I saw in my early life.